This is the High School Football America podcast for March the 19th, 2020. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding customer service and different plans priced right for every coach's budget. To get a demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. Heading to Western Pennsylvania to talk a little high school football. And boy, you know this Pennsylvania guy loves to talk about Keystone State football. And let's face it, Western Pennsylvania football has been good since it started, and it hasn't dropped at all. We've got some great players that have come out of that area, and today we get a fun chat here to talk with a man who not only won a state championship last year in Pennsylvania, the 1A championship for Farrell High School, the Steelers. They're now back-to-back state champions. Last year was his first year. He played on the team state championship squad back in the mid-90s as well, so I love it when you have somebody that goes to school someplace, goes away, does nice things, and comes back and gives back to the kids, and that's what Anthony Pegues is doing at Farrell High School. So time to talk some Steelers football, Farrell style, with Coach Pegues. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Oh, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and as I've done with everybody that has won the little Twitter contest we ran on Monday, is I have everybody put on their, whatever you want to call it, ambassador hat, the Chamber of Commerce hat. People certainly know where Western Pennsylvania is. They probably know a thing or two about the other Steelers, but I'm going to give you a little shot here at the beginning to talk about the community there, kind of what type of community it is and how football fits into that community.
We're a very small knit community, around 5,000 people here, and we're family oriented, and a lot of people just love this community and love this city and love everything about what we do.
Talking Farrell football on the High School Football America podcast tonight. Anthony Pegues is the head coach there. Took over, moved up from OC. You were an assistant there. Tell me a little bit about that transition. I mean, you set the bar pretty high for yourself. It's already high, right? Farrell football is a big deal, but now you've gone in the first year and captured another championship. So tell me a little bit about some of the things maybe that you did when you took over. Did you make major changes, or was it one of those things where you understood the Farrell tradition, the culture, and all that? Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
I just kind of understood the tradition here. Like I said, I was a big part of this tradition, and being a kid and growing up in this city and being part of this culture. And I really didn't do much transition over from the offense coordinator to the head coach. I've been part of the program coaching-wise for the last 8-9 years, and we just kept the staff the same, and we just kind of ran with it. And like you said, we knew the tradition and everything that's about in this place, and we just kind of ran with it, trying to build onto that tradition.
And what is Steeler tradition there at Farrell? So the listeners around the nation know it. Like I said, everybody knows Western PA football, right? But define it a little bit for the people out there listening.
The tradition around here is just built on hard work, hard community work, and obviously it's built on a lot of winning and a lot of conference district titles and getting to the state championship. And it's just built on hard work. The hardworking people of this community. We're an old steel town, and everyone knows what happened with that situation. A lot of jobs lost, a lot of people moved out, and a lot of people that stayed here just kind of be close-knit family around here. And that just kind of helped the tradition over the years. And football is one of those things that bring this community together. A lot of football playing, a lot of people, and just love this place.
Yeah, Anthony Pegues is on the line. He's the head coach at Farrell High School in Western Pennsylvania. State championship last year, back-to-back in 1A. That's Pennsylvania's smallest classification. But when you win a state championship in Pennsylvania, it's always big. It doesn't matter if it's small or the largest classification, beating Bishop Guilfoyle last year in overtime. And let's kind of reflect a little bit on some of the things that happened last year before we go in and look toward 2020. So obviously another ring, that's always good for the kids. You now have one as a coach and as a head coach, I should say, and as a player. But who were some of the kids that really helped you guys last year, whether it was from a leadership standpoint, on the field, both? Tell me a little bit about some of those kids last year that got the Steelers another championship.
I mean, you always got to start with the senior class, and Brian Hilton Jr., Melvin Hobson, Raymond Raver, Gary Hobson, and a lot of those guys, Tyree Hammonds and Savion Thomas. A lot of those kids that were seniors, they're Farrell kids, born and raised here in Farrell, and they've been around for a long time. And we just had a lot of senior leadership.
Talking with Anthony Pegues, the head coach. Now, is Farrell just my east side of the state little thing there, or is it Farrell? So I got to make sure. Do I just kind of run over it a little quickly?
Yeah. Farrell's over here, just a little small place, and
I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. I'm a dumb Dutchman from the eastern part of the state here, so I'll keep going with Farrell until I get it right. But anyway,
so you're pronouncing it right.
Okay, good. So like that's the worst thing, right? I can do mispronounce it all, but. It's like now when I live in the South, some people look at me and go, "You're not from around here. You don't have a y'all or anything." Anyway, Coach, back to a little bit of seriousness. But again, the winning back to back, right? It's always hard. What were some of the things that you kind of set up as the head coach and your staff did to make sure the kids were working ahead? Because the bullseye gets bigger once you become that defending champ, if you will.
Oh, for sure, because from the previous year in 2018, and we went undefeated there and won 15 games in a row and had a lot of kids go play Division I football, and we just kind of used that as more motivation that teams are going to be coming after you, and we have to work extremely hard to get back to where we want to be. And we started off really slow this year, started 0-2, lost two good opponents early in the season, and we just got on a roll, and we just kind of kept that motivation. If you want to get back to the point and be king again, you got to put in the hard work.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And one of the things I was thinking about as I was taking some notes here prior to getting you on the line was, you won that championship in the mid '90s there as a player. Then you win it as a head coach. Obviously, you won a championship as an assistant there. One of the three, any sweeter than the other? Meaning, one is the kid that wins it in high school, and one is the older guy, we'll say, that won it as a head coach.
I would like to think the guy that won it as a head coach. It was really great as a kid winning it as a player and then winning it as an assistant. But to kind of say that you were the guy that's leading the program and helping these kids the way we have over the years, it's just kind of sweeter as a head coach.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love talking about generally when you're talking about a smaller town and programs in smaller towns, just like yourself, going back to the alma mater, right? Tell me a little bit about the staff. You said you kind of kept a lot of the same guys, but are a lot of those guys Farrell alums and they keep giving back, if you will?
Yes, for sure. If we have 15 coaches on the staff, I would like to think 14 of the 15 coaches are Farrell alumni. And my former high school coach, Falcone, Mr. Falcone, he's part of our staff too. He actually helps out any way he can. And all the coaches, pretty much most of the coaches there played under him. So a lot of us guys, we graduated from Farrell, played for Farrell, went off and did some other things, and we all came back and we're just giving back the way we know how, and that's through coaching.
Yeah, Farrell High School, Western Pennsylvania. Steeler football, not a bad nickname to have if you're playing football, no matter what level in the western part of Pennsylvania. What was the biggest adjustment for you when you moved? You moved your way up into the OC position and then became the head coach. Was there anything that was a little bit tougher for you that you didn't expect to happen? Usually, a lot of times it's the control thing, right? Now you can't just have your hands on one thing. You gotta be the master, if you will, the maestro. But what was it like for you on the transition?
It was. I wouldn't say it was a difficult transition. It was actually fairly easy. But like you said, there was a lot more things that come along with offense, defense, special teams. Just a lot of different things as a head coach you had to prepare for. Instead of being just the offense coordinator, my job was just put points on the board. Now I'm worried about everyone and every little thing that goes along with the position and with the job. And it was a smooth transition. Coach Jared, I think he kind of prepared me for this moment. He was the previous head coach, and some of the things he did for me in the last couple of years, I think he kind of prepared me to take over this job, and it was pretty much smooth transition.
Obviously, winning a championship, that's what it's all about after an 0-2 start. Anthony Pegues is on the line, the head coach at Farrell High School in Western Pennsylvania. Won a championship in overtime. We talked about some of the kids before we look forward to 2020. Boy, it doesn't get any more heart-stopping, I guess, than winning in overtime in the 1A championship game on a field goal. I think it was about 22 yards out there in overtime. Tell me a little bit about that. What was that moment like? Who was the young man that booted it and got you guys back to back?
Oh, that moment was crazy there. Brian Hilton Jr., kid that does a lot of different things for us. Played DN, wide receiver. He could do it all. Kicks field goals, punts. And it was a certain situation. Like I said, we were in overtime, and I never hesitated to actually go kick it. Being the school that we're from, we really don't kick field goals. Actually, we never kick field goals. And so I think when we started lining up for the field goal, everyone's wondering, like, what are they doing? Like, because we never do it. But I just have faith in the kid that can get it done. And like I said, it was in a 30-mile-an-hour wind or something like that, and the ball just hung up there forever. It was almost blowing backwards, and they made it over, and that's a crazy way to win a state title.
No matter how it gets done, right? It doesn't matter how ugly it may be. And you beat a good program, too. I mean, Bishop Guilfoyle at one point a couple of years ago had one of the longest active streaks in the nation, so that's got to make it even a little bit sweeter because they are a good opponent, right?
Oh, definitely, for sure. And they beat us in 2015 for the state title, and they put a good whooping on us back then, too. And they're a very good program, and they do a lot of good things down there. Great coaching down there for Coach Wheeler, and just a really good program.
Anthony Pegues on the line, the head coach at Farrell High School in western Pennsylvania. And I'm working on making sure I get that dialect right in there. I think I got it now. Instead of that Farrell I was using at the top of it. But anyway, let's turn the clock ahead to 2020. Again, defending makes it hard to defend. You got that job done, and now the word three-peat's probably tossed around a lot. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you're talking to the kids about in the off season to say, hey, folks, those last two, that's done. 2020 is a whole different year.
Yeah, it's just like every year we come into this situation and we tell the kids, our goals and expectation is to win a state championship. What we did back in 2018, 2019 is gone. It's time for you guys to build your own legacy, the senior class coming up. And in order to get that done, you just got to put in all the hard work, more work than you did the previous 2 years. So that's what we're preaching to them right now.
And then talk a little bit about some of the kids that, right now with the coronavirus, I know there's no contact, but before all, the world went in a different direction here. Who were some of the kids you were seeing in the weight room that were making a difference from a standpoint of leadership? And who are some of the kids you expect to continue that when you finally do get on the field and play a big role leadership on the field and off the field for you guys this year?
We have a lot of guys that can do that. Gary Satterwhite Jr., the third, actually. He's a 3-year starter at center and almost 45 starts in his career already. And
wow.
Bryce Butler, wide receiver. And we probably have, I feel, is one of the top running backs in the state with Anthony Stallworth Jr. And we got a lot of guys coming back. Tatum Strickland, a linebacker. Anthony Jackson, a linebacker. So we got a lot of guys coming back. Omar Stewart, his dad is a coach on the staff. And Jaden Harrison, who's another 1,000-yard rushing running back. His dad is a coach on the staff. And so we have a lot of kids that's coming back, a lot of skill and a lot of big guys up front, and we're just looking to make it happen again.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know changed in the offseason, and this is happening in all states, by the way, successful programs and changes in classification. As I said, you were a 1A champ last year, numbers being what numbers are. Were you guys affected by that? I can't remember. Do you guys have to bounce up because of how good you've been over the last several years?
Yes, we did. That success factor actually got us, and I guess with that new rule they have with the state and PA and certain situations, we actually had to move up the classification because we had a success factor with winning 2 back-to-back state championships. So that kind of got us there, and it'll affect us because we'll have to play against some bigger schools, but we'll be prepared. You got to put 11 out on the field, and we'll have 11 out there, and we'll be ready to go. Yeah,
no, like I said, most coaches feel the same way, right? You'd rather have the success factor get you because that means you did something to get it, right?
Right, exactly.
Got to look at it from a positive standpoint. And I mentioned the coronavirus, and as I've done at the end of every interview with coaches this week, because we have so many coaches that listen to the podcast, looking for little, newsy things to see if there's an interesting way of doing it. I guess everybody's trying to use, video, FaceTime, whatever it is. You guys doing anything different there to get through this situation?
Right now, one of the big things that we're going to start doing is we're going to start doing a lot of printouts and probably doing some more conference calls with kids, dropping paperwork off the kids and that sort of thing, and try to get the kids kind of do some working out on their own, you know what I mean, with this kind of being locked down in the house, so to speak, and can't really do much. And that's the only thing we can really do right now, which is which is a headache of itself, but
yeah,
that's all we could do right now.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that just dawned, and I didn't even think of this on the other interviews that I've done this week, but if you think about it, in some ways, these kids who are so technologically sound may be able to teach the old dog some new tricks. What do you think about that? You have any kid out there saying, "Hey, coach, there's such a thing as FaceTime"?
Yes, which is crazy because my the center Gary Satterway, he was like, well, you could do multiple Facebook calls or FaceTime calls or maybe even do a video, just like some coaches do with different videos, and they put them on YouTube, and you could do that and just kind of do coaching through that way. So there's a lot of different things we could do now. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, well, every so often us old dogs can learn some new tricks. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking some time here to share a little bit about the program and what you've been doing and what you're doing right now. We wish you nothing but continued success and good luck on the road to a three-peat.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate you having me on. You does a great thing for football, and a lot of us coaches and a lot of football people really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it as well. Those are kind words. Thank you. Don't forget to follow High School Football America every day at highschoolfootballamerica.com or on our social media sites. Facebook.com/High School Football America. Our handle on Instagram is also High School Football America. And on Twitter, our handle is HSFB America. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding customer service and different plans priced right for every coach's budget. To get a demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of highschoolfootballamerica.com. You've been listening to the High School Football America podcast. I'm Jeff Fisher.